We'll start. I can see there's still some people joining, but we'll get started and they can catch up with us. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon for this early adopters soft launch of the new CRM tasks. I suspect that quite a few of you, looking at some of the names on the attendee list, I recognise. Some of you definitely know who I am, but for those who don't, I'm Andy, Andrew. I'm the founder of ProspectSoft, and for anybody who does know me, yes, this is a very old picture, and I still have hair in this picture, which I clearly don't if you look at the video. But I'm not going to replace it. I'm going to keep using it. And I'm joined today by Tania, and Tania's one of our business analysts, and has been working pretty hard with the designers, the development team on this feature update. And Tania is going to give us the demo in the middle of this webinar, so you won't have to listen to me drone on for the whole webinar. So we'll be back with Tania in a little bit, but first of all, I'm just going to kind of set the scene and tell you what we've been doing. In terms of what we're going to cover, this webinar is scheduled for an hour, but I'm hoping we're going to finish a little bit earlier than that. I'm just going to clarify what the early adopters program is and what you're potentially signing up to, what software changes we'll be making and why we've made them. And then Tania is going to give you a demo of the new task functionality. And then I'm going to wrap up really quickly with just a little bit about how the program is going to work, how you can give us some feedback, and how you can get your hands on this software if you're still keen to do so after, which I'm sure you will, after Tania's amazing demo. So first of all, before we get into the software, the early adopters program, obviously when we're developing any kind of software, we start by designing it, and the inputs to that are, as you can imagine, the ideas portal, the votes that you guys and all our customers have voted on in that ideas portal, all sorts of other things, including competitor analysis and maybe talking to some customers and understanding the market. All sorts of things go into the design, and effectively we then build the MVP, the minimum viable product, and literally the developers write that code. We've got it, we test it, we put some basic documentation together, and obviously at that stage we could then just launch it to all of our customers, but you know that involves a significant leap of faith that to believe that we're so good at the design and the MVP that we've got it all 100% right before we start. And in reality, you know, I think historically we've done a good job of getting pretty close when we've launched something, but we certainly not 100% there every time. So the early adopters program is really about this sort of private preview. So there's only a select number of customers on this webinar. Our intention is to give this software to you as early adopters in a private preview, which means you get to preview it and in that select group, and other people don't get to preview it. You get to validate what we've done, and then give us any feedback. Anything critical, obviously, we'll deal with before we then give it to all the other customers to preview on a kind of, do you want to use it yet, do you not basis. And then ultimately it will go into general availability for mainstream use. And of course, you know, even after that, we'll be taking feedback from customers and improving the software like we do with everything. And so this is effectively our release program. Some things we release don't go through all of this. Some will do some of this. We might put it straight to public previews. It's fairly small and very optional. But big features like this, big changes, you know, it's useful to go through all of these stages and really validate what we're doing and get feedback all the way along. One thing I should emphasize is this is a fairly generic slide. It does talk about software being free during the early adopter stage, and possibly half price during public preview, and then potentially chargeable when it's generally available. That could be potentially a feature that we specifically charge for, or it could be that this feature might be only available in the professional or in the advanced subscription. But just to be absolutely clear, in terms of what we're looking at today, and in this particular early adopters, that this software will be available to all customers on all subscriptions as part. Not free, it's not free because you're already paying a subscription, but as part of the subscription you're already paying. There will be no additional charge for anything that we're talking about today. Obviously, this is a fairly generic description of the program itself. Okay, so that's the early adopters program. What about the specific software we're talking about today? So the work that we're doing, this particular work has been driven by the fact that actually there are the top 2 items in the ideas portal, in terms of top 2 as in how many votes customers have voted on. They're pretty big things, so we've prioritized other things in the ideas portal as being quick and easy above these, but these are the top 2 voted items. So a calendar in the CRM has got 443 votes, or it certainly had 2 days ago when I captured this data, and being able to use multiple tasks on an opportunity or a problem has got 120 votes. So those are the top 2 individual voted items, and actually there's a few other things that are related to these that are also got a fair number of votes as well. So these are the top 2 in the ideas portal. So that's why we're tackling these. And sort of more specifically in terms of what we're talking about today, although CRM Calendar is the number 1 and multiple tasks is number 2, we're tackling that number 2 first because when we got into the design, it was pretty clear that the calendar functionality we were designing builds on top of multiple tasks. So what Tania's going to show you in a little bit is multiple tasks and some changes to the activity timeline, because they're the first step, and then the work we're doing on calendars, which will build on that. And when I say will build on it, I don't mean we'll build on it in theory in several years' time. We designed both together. We have already developed the multiple tasks, hence why we're running this today, and we are currently actively developing the MVP for the calendar functionality, and we will talk a little bit more about what that is later on. So what changes more specifically are we making? Tania obviously will get into these in more detail, so if this isn't all super obvious, don't worry. But the first thing that you'll see, in fact you will have already seen, is an updated structure to the activity timeline. We just had to restructure that so that we could put the new tasks and calendar events into the activity stream in a kind of logical way that would make sense. So you will have already seen some updates to that, although you won't see it in its full glory because some of it relied on having the new tasks. And then the bulk of this update is the ability to have multiple tasks per company, per contact, per opportunity, per problem, per inquiry, although that does need a little bit more work before it's entirely finished. And although it doesn't say here, if using simple quotes, which is effectively a quote and an opportunity merged or mashed together on the one screen, you get multiple tasks in that scenario as well. And these tasks will then show in the main activity timeline in terms of when they were created, and then they'll also show in the sort of upcoming timeline section, which Tania will show you. There's a new task panel for managing your tasks. There's lots of new ways to create tasks. It's much easier to complete a task, better UI for doing that. You can reopen closed tasks. You can edit tasks after creating them, which you can't do at the moment, which I think is a bit of an issue for some users. And all of this also, one of the things that's been voted on further down our ideas portal is better ability to bulk update tasks, and that's been built in as well. And just much better reporting on tasks. That's another thing that people have asked for. So, as I say, Tania's going to give you a demo in a second, but these are the things to look out for when we're doing that. And then There's more to come, but the next stage will be to tie all of these things into a calendar functionality as well. I probably don't need to labour this. The fact that you've come today and given up your time to come to this webinar probably means that you already have your own ideas about where multiple tasks will benefit the CRM and benefit your business. But it's effectively so that multiple team members can collaborate on the same opportunity or problem. Much complex opportunities and problems can be broken down in multiple steps. We have not built dependency or critical paths into this kind of task management. So you won't get a full project management system, but clearly basic project management is possible. You can create a problem and go, to solve this problem, we need to do A, B, C, and D and assign those to different people and then track whether those things are being done and where you've got to. Worth saying that tasks can be created without a problem or an opportunity. We contemplated this and decided in the end to include that. So users can just to some extent, use this just as a task list. Prepare for the management meeting could be a task. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to a customer or customer activity. As I said, much improved reporting on tasks, when they were created, who created them, as well as when they were closed, when, by whom. You can report on activity and productivity. Obviously, not all activity and productivity is encompassed in tasks, but certainly the task element of that can be reported on. One thing that's very specific, something we used to have in the admin portal and sort of we kind of lost when we closed that down, but we knew we were replacing with this plan, the ability to move tasks between team members. So if somebody leaves, you can then just load up a full list of their outstanding tasks and then reassign them in bulk to somebody else as necessary using this as well. And just building on all the things that we're going to show you with a bit of imagination and a bit of extra tech, you'll be able to solve much more complex requirements with this new task than you could have ever done before. For instance, using Zapier to create tasks based on some flow. You could use some custom software to make API calls and create tasks automatically or close them off automatically. And later on in this sort of series of development we're doing, we're going to be enhancing the automation flows, which if you haven't tried that, you should. There's only one use case at the moment, but we'll be enhancing automation flows so that, for instance, if a quote has been sent and not closed within a couple of weeks, you could send some chaser emails, and then you could set a task for a salesperson to call the customer or something like that. Okay, so lots of things you can do with multiple tasks, lots of benefits. If some of that went over your head or you've forgotten it already, as I say, Tania's going to demonstrate in a second, but multiple tasks, allow multiple users to collaborate on things. Improved UX, I think, will just make everybody's day easier and make the software sort of friendlier to use and allow people to get on with their job and kind of get the software out of the way. And the enhanced reporting, I think, from a management perspective, is a really big boost in terms of the ability to report on who's doing what, when, and what's still outstanding. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hand you over to Tania for a demo. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, go ahead.
And please tell me if you see the CRM.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, great. I'm not going to look straight to the camera because I have a bigger screen I'm working on, but hello everyone. My name is Tania. In the past few months, I worked really close with the development team in order to make sure this functionality is very well refined and it's getting done in time for this webinar to be presented and everything to work as expected. Today, I will focus on the tasks functionality, but please keep in mind that there is more to come. This is just the first part of the calendar and tasks project. So there is a lot more we will tackle, and Andy will give you a sneak peek like at the end of my demo. As Andy mentioned already, one of the very important things that we're having here is like multiple tasks, so unlimited tasks per different types of records. In the past, we had fewer records. Now we have contact, company, opportunity, inquiry, and problem. And when I'm saying this, I will show all of this during the demo. So the first thing that you might notice while looking at this screen is that the no follow-up tile is missing. That's because this is not how we create tasks anymore. So we don't have that card anymore to just click on that and create a new task from there. In the new system, we have 3 different places in the CRM where we can create a new task. The first one is the global create. If I click on this one, you can see that we have the task preview. Clicking on this is the create new task functionality, like the new task pop-up. I'm going to cover most of these fields like in a second, but I just want to show all of you all of the places in which you can create a new task from. The second place is in the activity timeline, and you can see that we have add task button. If I click on this one, I get again the new task pop-up. And last but not least, we updated a bit the navigation bar. We have a new icon now, which if I click on, I get to see the updated version of today's task side panel. Here I have again a small icon, a plus icon, which I can click on to create a new task. Different from the recalls that like the previous task we had in the past, we now have a name and the description as well. So the name is mandatory. We have to put a name on, but we don't have to put a parent. And this is very important in case we want to add any tasks that are not directly related to any of our customers or anything that we are doing customer related in the CRM, but more to keep like a track of our day-to-day work. So I can select here a problem, an opportunity, something different, a contact, but I can just leave it blank. Also, as it worked in the past, I can still assign this to myself or to someone else. And when I do assign it to someone else, that person, that user will receive a notification via email, so they will know a task was assigned to them. Obviously, the date, I have to set the date in the future because I cannot set the deadline for a task in the past. What is new now is the new task types. So we had activity types in the past. This is a completely different list of types which the users can configure. We have by default all of these, but you can go and configure your own task types. You can create a new one in case you want to, or you can, I don't know, delete an existing one, make them obsolete. You can edit them. For example, instead of meeting, I was referring that I can book in a meeting, for example, and I can just rename it or bring it back in case I want to restore it. This is all configurable. And we also have a description. When I create it, I can put in a description. When I complete a task, I will be able to put in also an outcome. I'm going to leave that for a bit later. Right now, what I want to show you next is today's side panel. As you can see, now we have multiple sections. Those are all collapsible. Only today's section is open by default, but I can collapse them all or I can open them all. It depends on how much information I want to see at a single time. If it's too crowded and it's too noisy to just look at all of them at the same time, I can focus on one at a time. As you can see, we have a color coding for each one of them. So because today means that I have to action on this task like pretty quickly, but they're not like the most urgent. We selected amber. We have red for overdue because these are tasks that really need our attention right now. We have upcoming with gray, and we have completed today, which are green. I'm going to go through all of these sections in a second. It's really important to see that we also have color coding when it comes to, for example, the tiles, like on the side, if the section is too long and there are too many tiles, you might be scrolling through them and like being confused, like where am I, what am I working on right now? And we have the color coding on the left side so that you know at each times where you are, what you're working on. Also for the overdue ones, we have the deadline so that you can see it's something that should have been resolved by now. I can just collapse them all and go through each section. So for today, it means that the due date of the task is today. These are the tasks that like I have to solve for now. Overdue means that the due date was in the past and the tasks have not yet been completed. Upcoming, it means that the due date is in the future, so next week, next month, it depends. And completed today, this is more for a sense of accomplishment so that the user can see everything they have worked on during that day. So everything that was followed up on, even if it's something from the past or from the future, if it was completed today, it's going to show up here. One thing that's really nice is this globe icon. So it says that this task was created in a different time zone. The new task management system provides a very helpful visual cue. So we have this globe icon to indicate when a task was originally created in a different time zone or on a different day. And when does this come in handy? So let's imagine that there are two CRM users. One is based in the UK, one is based in Korea. At a specific moment, it might be June 25th in the UK and June 26th in Korea. So due to the time zone difference, we have this different date. If a task is created in Korea on the 26th of June, it will reflect the date for the user in Korea. However, when the user in UK views the task, they'll see that it was created on the 25th, so they will see their local time. This is really useful because when viewing tasks, the user should always keep an eye for the small globe icon next to a certain entries. This icon serves as like, let's say, a friendly reminder that the task was initiated in a different time zone or on a different day. And it ensures that both users, so regardless of their location, both of them understand the original creation and that the date is accurate for both of them. And this might be very, very helpful when, for example, you have colleagues that work in different time zones and you close the CRM, you open the CRM the next day, and you have a bunch of tasks that were created like during the night by a different colleague in a different time zone, you'll see them all with a globe next to them so that you know when they were created and what happened in the meantime. Now, when it comes to all of these styles, we decided to go with just the right amount of details. So you can see obviously the due date, you can see the name of the task, and if the task doesn't have any, if the card doesn't have any other detail, it means that it has no parent record. If it has a parent record, it will be shown underneath. It can be either a company, it can be, for example, a problem or whatever that is. And we also have a small tick icon. And this is very useful so that you don't have to necessarily open each task separately to go through completing the task. You can just click on this mark as complete icon. And I'm going to open this completed today section just for you to see that when I click one of these, they get moved. So if, for example, I completed this, you can see that the completed, oh, this is exactly the demo effect. This works. It's just as expected because this is a problem which requires to have necessarily one task created at a time. So the status of the problem in which this is that I have to have at least one task. If I close this one, it's the last task. So the system prevents me from doing this and from having this issue because I can just go here and tick all of them and not be not pay enough attention to what each one of these is. This is reminding me at all times that this task requires, this problem requires a task at all times. So I know I have to go to that parent record and deal with that alone. But for example, I click on, I don't know, I booked the meeting with Robert and it's going to move in this section and I am invited to add an outcome. And I can click here and then I'm going to see this side drawer opening where I can fill in an outcome. I can, I don't know, outcome for this. And if I click outside, I also have a typo. If I click outside, the details will be changed. This is also where I can amend or change any of the details. I can reassign this to someone else. I can rename it. I have all of the details of the task right here, so I can do any of the changes I want. And let's say I'm happy with what I've done. I come back here and I realize, I should have done something else before completing the booking with Robert. I should have sent the invite to him as well. So I can just go back reopen the task if I want to. And you're going to see that if I click back here, the task gets back into this section. So it's back here. I can still work on it if I have to. Similar, if I want to see all the details, I can just, I don't know, click on any of these. For example, on one that's overdue, I can click on this one. I can see what needs to be done. Why didn't I do it until now? Like I can leave some notes in the description at all times, and I can mark it as complete from here as well. So if I click on this, you can see that it gets updated and one of the globe icons disappeared because that task got completed. Another thing I can do is to cancel a task. This, for example, add new gem flavors in the CRM. It's something I have to do on my own. Maybe I don't have, or something else did it in the meantime. There was a miscommunication. I can just cancel the task and this will disappear from today's, from this section. So I will no longer be able to see it here, but if I will go in the reports, and we will go and create a report together in a second, then I can go and see all of the tasks that also got canceled, not just the ones that were completed. This is mostly it for this part of the CRM that got outdated. Obviously, we need a lot of feedback from you, so we will be looking for that. Other updates that were made in the CRM are the activity timeline. And here I'm on a company just because I want to show you different types of tasks that can appear here. I'm going to ignore the pin section and we'll come back together immediately. But the first one that appears now, and it was not in the past, it's a recent change, is the upcoming and overdue section. And you can see that we have multiple entries. For now, I mostly have tasks, but like when you're looking at your timelines, you're going to see documents, edit notes, whatever there was like that the salesperson did to engage with the customer. Right now, if I am in this section, I can see all of the upcoming and overdue, meaning all of the pending tasks that have due dates either in the past because they are overdue or in the future because they are upcoming. And we tried to put here as much detail as possible, not to make the user necessarily click on each one of them to see the details on the side in the side drawer. So you can just skim through this and you can see that who is the person, who is this assignee, what is the task they have to do, when it was created, and what is the due date. So all of the details right here. And this is the description of the task. So in this section, we focus on the person that has to fill in the task, that has to complete the task. And here is Diana. I can edit the task either by clicking on the title, because the title is a link that opens this side drawer, or by clicking on the edit icon, which is also really helpful to do because I can just go through the actions that are on the side. Another thing that we are looking for when we're in the upcoming and overdue section is the date. And if it's in the future, it's not urgent, it's gray. If it's for today, it's amber. And if it's overdue, if it has to be solved already, then it's red. So we're going with the same color coding that we have in today's side panel. Next, we have this month section where we can see both the creator and the person that has to resolve the task. So here, for example, Diana created the task for herself, but maybe she created the task for me too. So I can see both the creator and the assignee. Maybe I just completed a task that was related to a problem, or I assigned the task to someone else. This one, for example, has no description. What are the actions that can be done here in the timeline? The first and the most important, if you, for example, are working with someone else in the same workspace, and that person has a few days off, and this task, like let's say send quote to Diana, is like very urgent, it has to be solved while they're off, I can try to complete the task that was not assigned to me, and I am allowed to. I'm given this, this pop-up is showed just to make sure that I'm doing something, and I'm aware that I'm doing this, that I do what I'm expecting to be done, but I can mark it as complete either way, even if it's not my task. So I can follow up on a few things even when my colleagues are off, or I can just, if it's a task that was assigned to me, I can fill it straight away, I can complete it straight away, and it will go into the past section. With these sections here, it's just some demo data. So we have like this month and like upcoming and overdue, but we also with like more data, we could have more sections, and I'm going to explain how they're split. We have this month, which is very intuitive, everything that happened, assignations and completions that happened in the current month. We have last month, and last month being May, it means that the month before is April 2024. So we went past, like with the current month and 2 months in advance, in the past. And also all of the other data that is from the same year is gathered here earlier in 2024. Data before 2024 is grouped in 2023, for example, in 2020, and so on. We can see that in the timeline there will still be documents and like other assignations and everything. So if I come back here, pinning works just the same. If I can pin a task, I can unpin it and it will go away. The section is still present. I can also flag, for example, if I think this is a problem, a very important problem that my colleagues need to know about, I can mark this as important or unimportant. I can unflag it. And also, for example, I can click on the mark as complete as I showed you, or I can pick a task that is assigned to me and come here and mark as complete as I showed you before, again from here. So I can mark it as complete, and then if I'm not happy with the outcome or I still have to work a bit on it, I can reopen. Also, when I cancel, and this is something I can do, I think we should create a report now. So I can cancel this one, change the order. For Milo, I can just cancel this and no entry will be shown in this activity timeline, but we can create a new report. And if I come here, I can type task and select the task preview because it has more fields as I showed, and we have the status which we're interested in. If I click next, I can be maybe interested in lots of different things. Maybe I'm interested in the status. Maybe I want to know who was assigned to, because then I can filter by the assignee, the person who had to resolve the task. I can also pick, for example, the company name. And because I have a name and the company name, it would be really nice to include the entity name as well, so that the report is like very clear for me. I don't know. I can also include the creator of the task. And if I click next, we can see that we have lots of pages here in the report, and I only see completed and active. So why there is no deleted task? Because we have filtering, which is turned on. So we can filter by status. And in this case, it's filtered by not deleted. So all the canceled tasks are not displayed. I can obviously remove this filtering and I can see all of them, even the ones that I already deleted, and I can reopen, which is really important. So if I pick this one, which was deleted, I can come here, again, the same editing screen, and I can reopen this one. And if I click back, you'll see that the status changed to active. So it's very easy to reopen tasks, even if they're not in the timeline or in today's side panel anymore. Really important, we can filter by anything, like by the assigned to person, for example. If I'm interested to see all the tasks that were assigned to one of the salespeople, like not me, but one of my colleagues, for example, for Diana, I can see all over her tasks here. And lastly, what I would like to show you is how the pipeline goes for an opportunity and what tasks I can create there. If I create a new opportunity and let's pretend that for Milos, maybe that should be the parent record. So this company, Milos, is going to extend to Europe. So they're going to have an expansion. I'm going to select, let's say, the account upsell pipeline, and we can go through there. So if I'm here in this pipeline, I discussed about this expansion. My customer is interested in like buying more from me. What I want to do is to send some samples, for example, and I can create a new task here under this opportunity and say send samples. And I can assign this one to Diana, for example, and she's going to be the salesperson to deal with this part. as I said before, because it's Diana's task, if I come here and mark it as complete, I can still do that, but I'm given a warning. So just so I know, it's not assigned to me. So am I the person who should complete this task? And let's say yes, because I don't want to change screens so much. I'm going to complete this one. And now we can move in the sales process. So I can go in the next stage in the pipeline. And in the sales process, for example, I can start gathering feedback on the samples that I sent. So gather feedback would be really nice. I'm going to create this task for myself. This time, I'm going to be the one to gather the feedback from the samples that were sent, which is really good because I did that already, and I'm going to mark this as complete. Now we can probably start pushing for close. So I'm going to move this into the next stage. And you can see that a new task pop-up appeared automatically because this pushing for close stage requires necessarily to have a task created. This is what happened in today's timeline, today's task side panel, because I wanted to close one, which required to have a task open at all times. So maybe we have to discuss at this stage delivery charges, because it's like international, and I'm going to assign this to another one of my work colleagues, to Maria, for example. And now you can see that if I try to close this one, and even if I can say it's one and I can submit, the gatometer changed to 100%, and it's working as expected because I still have this one, which we can discuss even if the opportunity, even if you're not in the final discussions, I can still discuss the delivery charges, and it's working as expected. Of course, we have like the problems that work similarly and everything. We made a few small changes here, but you can come and see the configuration of opportunity statuses, and you can still see that some are required, some are optional. In the past, we had optional, no pop-up, and optional with pop-up. Now we just have optional, but like everything else works as expected and as it worked in the past with this. And this is mostly it. I can just go back to my company and I can see what happened there, because now all of those tasks that were created are now added here on Meals expansion. And so one of them, like the delivery charges, is an upcoming one. So I can just say we discussed this and I mark it as complete, and it's all good. This was my demo. Thank you, everyone. In case there are any questions, we can discuss. We are open to receiving feedback from all of you.
If you do have questions, obviously we are going to ask your feedback afterwards via questionnaire. But if you do have questions specifically during the webinar, I will try and remember to look at the questions at the end. Just if there are any, just pop them into the questions on the Zoom questions. Okay.
I will stop sharing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Tania. Hopefully that was pretty comprehensive. We went into a bit of detail, but hopefully that was appropriate for the people on this webinar who, I think it's important for you to see the full functionality to make sure that, you understand where it's different to how it worked in the past, not just in order to see the benefits, but so that you can, validate that this is going to work for you, and that you're not going to suddenly have loads of challenges unexpectedly if you move forward with the early adopters. So thanks, Tony, for that demo. As promised, just very briefly looking ahead. So this is not available yet, but this is what we're working on at the moment. We will be expanding beyond just multiple tasks into having both tasks and events. There's clearly a lot of similarity between tasks and events, but the big difference is that events happen, at a scheduled time, particularly with multiple attendees rather than just the person who the task was assigned to, and everybody expects to see events in a calendar view. So there will be a calendar view coming, and there will be some enhanced functionality that gives you events as well as tasks. But as I say, this update right now is just the multiple tasks, and we'll come back and show you what we've built in calendar functionality when we get there. Okay, so let's just clarify the next steps, and then we'll wrap up. So obviously the reason why we're doing this is to get some feedback. Your feedback is really important to help validate what we've built so far, and to know that we're on the right track, or if we're missing something, what that is. Obviously, if you give us feedback of anything that's broken or not working properly, then we'll action that and fix it. But also, beyond just the simple sort of fixes and little tweaks, it is your opportunity to get involved with us and give us your feedback and influence the future development opportunities and what we put next into our roadmap around tasks and events and calendars and that kind of thing. So in terms of the timeline, the private preview launch is today. That's what we're doing right now. We'll follow up from this with a short questionnaire survey. It will be reasonably short, just to get a bit of feedback in terms of your initial feedback on what you've seen, but most importantly, to confirm that you do want to be an early adopter for this feature. Once you've confirmed that, then we'll liaise with you, but effectively end of next week, we would expect to upgrade your software and switch this feature on for you. I think it probably is worth saying that we have tested this thoroughly. We're not expecting anybody to, while we are expecting feedback, we're not expecting anybody to have any major issues, and we're not expecting people to roll back. It is possible to roll back, but not entirely straightforward, so just bear that in mind. So once we switched it on for you, we're expecting you to use it, for your users to use it, and for you to give us feedback. And you can do that effectively in two ways. If you're having issues, or if you need a bit of help immediately, our support team are ready to give support on this feature, backed up by the developers and Tania and myself. So if you need immediate help, you can contact support, but we will then follow up once we've seen people using it. We'll follow up with some more short surveys. We won't drown you in them, but to collect your feedback as you go on, and give you the opportunity to give us some structured feedback about what you think could be better, what could be improved, etc. And all of that building towards providing this update to all of our customers in a public preview. And we haven't got a set schedule for that, because it will depend on the feedback that you provide. But our aim, ideally, if we don't get loads of negative feedback, I'm sure we won't, but assume that we don't, our timeline for that is somewhere around the 6 to 9 weeks to get this into full availability for all of our customers. So some key takeaways. First of all, this is an early adopters program. Don't get put off or scared by that. I should emphasize this feature has been tested. In fact, Tania has been, obviously everything gets tested by our developers and our QA team, but this is Tania's baby, and she has tested the hell out of it. I can tell you that. And she has found some bugs that you would never find. Obviously the important ones we've already fixed. We think it's pretty awesome. We think it's a substantial upgrade on what was there before. But being an early adopters program, you'll be the first to use it, first to provide real world feedback and get the opportunity to influence the future developments. Your feedback does really matter. As I say, there'll be initial confirmation, then you can get support for anything urgent, and then we'll kind of come to you for some more structured feedback as the program runs on. I think we've probably said this enough, but this is just phase one. There's lots to follow. calendar is the next thing, but there will be lots of other enhancements to follow as well, some of which will be guided by your feedback through this program. Okay, are there any questions? No, which either means we've completely lost everybody, or Tania, your demo was so amazing that everybody's got the answers they need. As I say, there will be a questionnaire following up, so if there aren't any questions, that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for your attendance this afternoon. We haven't overrun, which is unusual for me, so that's great. And thank you for your time. Look forward to getting your feedback following this webinar, and particular feedback when you start using the new task functionality. Thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.